Jey Uso lost the World Heavyweight Championship after only 51 days as champion. He had 4 title defenses, but it was a good reign. He didn't need to have the belt any longer. Now, coming into this match against Gunther on Monday Night Raw, I mean, this match was scheduled for like 2 weeks, right? It was scheduled 2 weeks ago. He had another match before this, but it wasn't a title match because it was a tag team match at Money in the Bank. But in that Money in the Bank ladder match, he started favoring his ribs. Logan Paul did a moonsault to Jey Uso through the announcement table, and since then, Jey Uso has been selling this rib injury. So on Monday Night Raw, that was the storyline heading into the match. Jey Uso, he's got some issues with his ribs. He's going to be dealing with that. He's going to be a little bit injured, a little bit banged up, right? And that's supposed to be, why he's not as strong. And it eventually affected the finish because Gunther won using the sleeper hold. And this was a perfect finish to the match because not only did he lose to Jey Uso at WrestleMania from a sleeper hold, but he beats him. He gets that revenge right here using the same move that he lost the title with. He regains the title with that same move, but also because Jey Uso, his ribs are injured, it's going to be hard for him to breathe. It's going to be hard for him to get air in his lungs. So it makes sense that Gunther will beat Jey Uso. This is perfect storytelling, right? This is just elite storytelling. It just makes so much sense, and it's just smart. Gunther, Jey Uso, this rivalry has been going on since January. It felt like since Jey Uso won the Royal Rumble. They had matches for the Intercontinental Championship last year, right? So you can say this has been going on since 2024, since the beginning of 2024. February, I believe, was when they had the first match. It just makes a lot of sense for Gunther to have the championship, to be the champion, because he carries the belt better than Jey Uso does. Jey Uso comes out every night. Main event Jey Uso is in your city. He does yeet, one word, right? That's basically all he does. And just like what else is there, right? Jey Uso has been very one-dimensional since he won the championship, since before he won the championship, since he won the Royal Rumble. We saw his character work when he was still part of the bloodline, when he was facing Roman Reigns for the championship, before he became Roman Reigns' right-hand man, before he became main event Jey Uso. But even then, he was still had this character. He had this a little bit tenacity where he didn't really obey all of Roman's orders. He started to show a little bit of an attitude. He eventually broke off from the bloodline. He became his own person. And then once he said yeet with Cody Rhodes, boom, it just skyrocketed. That became his whole character. His whole character is just a catchphrase. Yes, he sells his merch. It's fabulous. That's why I agreed with Jey Uso winning the Royal Rumble. Just like I agreed with him winning the championship at WrestleMania, but he doesn't need to hold the championship. Yes, he's your top star in terms of selling money. Your Gunther is not making you as much money as Jey Uso. That's something, and money has been an issue with WWE as of late. They've taken more sponsorships. They've released superstars, but they bought like a few companies, right? So it makes sense that money's going to be a little bit tighter right now since they are making these purchases, acquiring competitions, acquiring AAA, the company from Ireland or whatever, acquiring Evolve, right? It makes sense that you're gonna be a little bit more needy of it. And if Jey Uso is making more money, that's great. But he can't do the same thing forever. If Jey Uso's not gonna switch it up, that's eventually going to run a little bit more dry. And if you have it in these short times, a 2-month reign, right, that's going to be a peak Jey Uso right there. You maximize your profits that you can earn out of Jey Uso. That is good, but it's only going to go down here from here. It's only going to get more stale as you get more repetitive. Since Jey Uso, he just debuted like a new shirt design like a couple weeks ago too, but still, it's not anything like totally new. And I know Gunther is like the definition of stale, right? Rinse, repeat the same thing all the time, except he has grown in character. He's evolved. He went from, the mat is sacred, I'm a super professional guy, to let's disrespect our opponents, let's belittle them, let's do all this, let's mock them, use their moves. He speared Jey Uso in this match, doing things that's more greater than things that are outside just professional wrestling. He's doing more heel work, being a stereotypical heel. I don't like that. I like it more when he was just the ring general. I like that character more than this. Be as disrespectful as we can, because it's not necessary for him to do all this really. And before, he was just like, let's go in, let's win our matches, let's get out of here, right? That was better character because that was unique. What Gunther's doing right now is not unique. It's what we've seen with pretty much like every single heel in the past before. Let's steal our opponent's moves. Let's trash talk them throughout the match. Let's trash talk them in promos. Let's attack them. Let's take cheap shots. This is really every single heel before. He wouldn't do that before, but now he does. Now he's not as professional, but he's kind of sort of getting back to that professionalism. We saw him in the locker room have a normal talk with Jey Uso. That was good. But is this the right move? Is Gunther winning the championship back from Jey Uso the right decision that WWE made? And I believe, yeah, it is. Jey's popularity and potential versus Gunther's proven dominance, his international appeal even, and his consistency. Gunther is one of the most consistent wrestlers. He puts on great matches. If you lose to him, you're not being buried. If you lose to Jey Uso, you're being buried pretty much, because Jey Uso is, unless if there's an interference or something like that, then it's like, how do you lose to Jey Uso? He hasn't. It's not like he's that good of a wrestler. And I'm talking about kayfabe, not like actual skill. Not, even though he does do a lot of super case, he doesn't have as vast of an arsenal as Gunther. Just talking about storyline wise, Jey Uso hasn't been booked as strong as Gunther, as even Braun Breaker, as Seth Rollins, as these other main eventers have. Jey Uso hasn't been booked like that strong to have dominant wins. Gunther, where does his reign go from here? Well, he can fight someone who's, they're talking about maybe return. Maybe he's going to retire that individual. I'm not going to say his name right here because I don't know if he's with WWE or not, but that match could happen at Night of Champions. It could happen in Saudi. It could happen at SummerSlam. It could happen at Saturday Night's main event, whenever they kind of teased it last year, Gunther versus Goldberg at Bad Blood. So that could possibly be something that happens. But right now, the point of this video is Jey Uso. Where does Jey Uso go from here? Is he going to be another Kofi Kingston, another Big E, another Finn Balor, someone who wins the World Heavyweight Championship, loses it, and never wins it again? Is never even like a main eventer. I think Jey Uso is going to avoid that. I think he's still going to be a main eventer. Now, what we saw with Big E is that he went back to tag team wrestling, right? What we saw with Kofi Kingston, he went back with tag team wrestling. What we saw with Finn Balor, he was injured, so he couldn't. It's not like he got demoted to the maker. Jey Uso, yes, he's selling this injury. He's going to be gone, maybe potentially for a few weeks, maybe a month or so. But he's not long-term injured. He's going to come back, and he's going to be. The hype's still going to be there. The crowd is going to love him the same. We're all going to love Jey Uso the same. We're all going to yeet the same, right? It's going to be the same thing. It's just that we're having this little break where there's no Jey Uso main event, no main event Jey Uso's in your city, no World Heavyweight Championship on him. We're having this little break of Jey Uso to prevent him getting stale. Because if we are overexposed, it's going to get tired quick, and you want to stretch out this Jey Uso, this hype that he has, while it's still very, very, very hot. Because like I said, he just came out with a new shirt design a couple weeks ago, and that's going to sell tremendously well, right? So if you can have this little break of Jey Uso, then you're going to distract from the fact that he peaked at WrestleMania, or peaked a little bit after WrestleMania, that the 2 months or 51 days that he had the title. We're going to be able to stretch this out for much longer of a period if we have him lose the title and then come back. He's going to be main eventer once again. That's how you can lengthen the duration of this hype train that Jey Uso has, and you're going to be able to increase your benefits, increase your earnings using Jey Uso. You can get the most out of him if you do it like that. So I think this is a great decision by WWE. It aligns with their long-term storytelling, right? Jey Uso has to have some kind of arc. It gives Gunther his second title reign, his second World Heavyweight Championship reign, and Gunther is someone who, he never held any other World Championship besides this World Heavyweight Championship. He's the first person to win it twice, right? Damian Priest only had one reign, Drew McIntyre, Seth Rollins, Jey Uso, right? They all have only one reign. Gunther becomes the first two-time World Heavyweight Championship with this new belt. And another thing is, he's the right person to hold the title. He never lost to Roman Reigns or Cody Rhodes or John Cena, who are holding. He lost to Cody Rhodes, but that was like the Night of Champions or whatever, Crown Jewel, right? That doesn't count. He never lost to those three guys who have been the guys who hold the undisputed WWE Championship. So you're still separating the World Heavyweight Championship. It's not a B tier title. It's not an A tier title and the other titles in S tier. These are both main event titles, the World Heavyweight Championship and the Undisputed WWE Championship. They're both main event titles. They're both S tier. They can both main event pay-per-views. It's not like John Cena's title is above Gunther's title. Gunther is someone who's going to bring the legitimacy back to this title. While Jey Uso and Cody Rhodes did beat John Cena and Logan Paul at Saturday night's main event, or no, Money in the Bank, excuse me, he didn't really feel like that the title with Jey Uso was on par with John Cena. Gunther is someone who can elevate this title because we need that in-ring work. We need that dominant character. John Cena is using cheap shots. He's not being booked. He's not winning cleanly. Gunther is someone who can win cleanly. He doesn't need interferences. He doesn't need to expose the turnbuckle. He doesn't need to use his championship and attack someone else, right? Gunther is someone who can win on his own. He's that dominant champion that we can have, and he's got as much of a target on his back as John Cena does. Before, John Cena had the bigger target than Jey Uso. I mean, there's a reason why CM Punk is going after John Cena, even though CM Punk's on Raw. Jey Uso was the champion on Raw. CM Punk's on Raw, and he's going after John Cena, right? That was just a bigger championship at the time. But now Gunther can kind of even the titles out. The prestige of the titles is pretty much the same right now. And it's good for the title. It's good for Gunther. It's good for Monday Night Raw, the brand, to have that top star be a top star. Like actually, like genuinely, not just someone who has the crowd, not just someone who is over, but someone who has all the characteristics of a top star is great for the company. So that's my take. Let me know what you think in the comments. Thank you for watching. See you next week.